So good afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend RIDOT's Municipal Road and Bridge Program webinar. My name is Kathleen Sisson, and I'm the Director of Educational Advancement for RIDOT and RILTAP. Today's agenda starts with an introduction and housekeeping items, and the presentation will include information about the Municipal Road and Bridge 2024 program updates. Topics will include program participation, key performance indicators, obligations, reimbursements, monthly reporting, and points of emphasis. The presentation will also cover the Municipal Roads and Bridge 2025 program, included in the governor's budget. And last, there will be time at the end of the presentation for questions and discussion. So let's start with some introductions. So as I said, I'm Kathleen Sisson, and I'm hoping each person here, we can go chronological, can introduce themselves. So let's start with JP.
Hello, everybody. JP Verducci. I'm overseeing the program right now for RIDOT. I also serve as Associate Director. And along with me are some other people who have been in a lot of contact with you. Public enemy number one, Dave.
Yeah, David Walsh. I'm Assistant Director for Administrative Services here at RIDOT, and the team that works with both municipalities and with all stakeholders throughout the state, Jim Pratt and Carol Angelia, who you spent a lot of time with the past year, are also on.
All right, and our team's been incredibly helpful throughout this process. Pam Cotter from our planning unit.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pam Cotter. I'm the Administrator of Planning here at RIDOT. I'm sure that if Dave and JP can't help you, we can. So feel free to get in touch with the planning section too.
I would like to say, you know, we spent a lot of time together this past year, but outside of working individually with the municipalities, our team here at RIDOT spends during all of last year getting ready for this program to kick off and the projects get in with the governor's team for weekly meetings. And I know you guys all work with Shay from the municipality level from the governor's office, but I want to thank the governor's office for their partnership with us, and Shay in particular for her partnership with us all of last year, and looking forward to that again this year.
Thank you. You guys have all been wonderful. And I know the governor, you know, this program really exceeded his expectations. So, you know, the whole team at DOT, you guys have just, you know, really, you know, I think this was the most successful budget initiative we've had this past cycle. And so all the communities that are here, thank you all for participating in this and, you know, providing your feedback for, you know, this upcoming round, which we welcome you to send in your letters of support to the assembly to push this along.
Thank you.
And we'd be remiss too without mentioning our partnership with the Pandemic Recovery Office, who's actually providing the funds on this. The eye in the sky that watches it all, Miss Kate Randall from Pandemic Recovery Office. Yes, see, just eyes, no face, no mouth. There she is. And thank you very much for joining, Kate. But at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is geared towards making sure we get them the proper information. So really glad everybody was able to jump on to kind of round out what we're doing here. So appreciate it. With that, I'll jump right in. We'll save most of the time for questions because there are some things we were just kind of brand new information, but we'll start with just a little bit of an update. Save the way. So we got about an hour, but you know, we shouldn't need too much on this. We've got some muting going on during this, but like I said, we'll try to get the questions out at the end. Feel free to use the chat function. We've got someone monitoring that for us. And then, like I said, we'll do some questions and discussion at the end. I find that to be pretty helpful with this group. As you may remember, last year we did something similar. We actually were able to get ahead of a couple of pain points we may have encountered otherwise. So please feel free to jump in on this. So quick update. We did have full participation in the program. We ended off the 2024 first phase with 622 projects. As you're all familiar with, they range from sidewalk repairs to full reclaim. Big thing that a lot of folks have been taken away from this is just what the municipalities extended themselves to do, even more than asked. For a total of about 74 million right now. When we first started out, the straight math was 20 million state, 40 million local for 60, but we were able to push that number up on the local share to get over 74 million. So another kind of great talking point, another great takeaway that we've had from this is, showing that if you give people a little bit and let them know ahead of time some funding's coming, are able to get ahead of some things and even kind of pony up more than we may have expected. So that part's been very successful. I want to highlight that.
Yeah, and JP, that was driven from the municipalities. Some of the first municipalities who actually got some work out last fall was saying that they had a list of projects they wanted to do, and could they do more? And of course, you can do more projects. The percentages change a little bit, but using the state grant money to get as many projects in as the towns could wanted to get was very beneficial to driving that number up to 74 million last year.
Absolutely. So, big thanks to everybody for putting that up. We know it's not easy. Now let's see, what's this money doing? So I'm going to keep updating this slide as we go through this program, but I wanted to just give you some quick ones because these numbers do tend to stick with you. I mean, we are over 600 projects, actively in our portal. We've heard from folks. We know those are going to be updated. Most of this stuff was based on estimates. So, that 622 will most likely actually go up because we're hearing from a lot of folks who are getting some better pricing. So that is not where we're going to end for the 24 program, but we'll get to that in a bit. Big picture wise, over 15 million obligated. We'll discuss obligations on their own too, but just wanted to let you know so you can kind of picture this money moving along. That 15 will be out of that kind of $74 million bucket. So great first go at it. That represents mostly what got done last fall. And when you look at it this way, quite a bit of ways to go, but we're obviously gearing up for a big season now. We've already over 50 lane miles have been rehabilitated, repaired on the roadway surface, and we're approaching a mile of sidewalk repairs. So again, just big picture takeaways for the group. This is really gonna grow exponentially. This kind of represents the first step in the program so far. So this slide is the scary one. This is the one I put the red on. Just to get everybody back on the same page. Sometimes it can get confusing with what funding year or fiscal year versus calendar year date. So just to reiterate, all the funding needs to be obligated by July 31st. Obviously quickly approaching, but we're hoping as the spring season gets going, you're able to bundle some of these or basically get the obligations under PO with a vendor. That vendor needs to be competitively procured. But if you want to ask myself or anybody who's already gone through the process, we can let you know that, we're for the most part asking you to follow your bidding guidelines in the municipality. There's not the usual federal tags that come along with this stuff. So more information on that, please reach out to us. We'll go through it with you. But there's enough people on here may be able to let you know we're not asking for a ton of stuff on that. So downside, we've got to get this money obligated. Good side, you've actually got quite a bit of time to do the work and spend it. If we had our druthers, we would obviously make those 2 points closer. But as is such, these are the rules. So, keep that in the back of your mind. We've also heard from municipalities, and again, this is important feedback, that they cannot issue multi-year purchase orders. That's something we got to keep an eye on because, now we're kind of changing it where you've basically only got a year to get this money in and get it out. So, hold the questions for now, but I want to get you thinking, these are things that you'll be up against. So, and then, like I said, you've got until the end of December 2026 to spend. Should be done way before that, but it's just good to know. I wish they put more space in the, middle part, but this is the life we chose. Next topic I wanted to get into you a little bit is reimbursements. Reimbursements, obviously, your cash flow back to your municipalities. This is huge. We know how important it is for you all to get that money back. In order to get this, most of you all are in compliance. We've got 37 out of 39 public agency agreements. We're waiting on 2 more. I don't think it's anybody here. And then the next step from that is that actually forms a basis for a state purchase order. So just to make sure we're on the same page, state purchase order between Rhode Island DOT and the municipality, not the purchase order you have with your vendor. So once we set that up, what that does is that actually gives us the ability to cut you a check or to pay your, ACH, however you want the money back. Without that PO, we can't do that. Good news with having it this way, the state can track all this. So far, we've got tons of POs, probably over 34, something like that, POs. This shows up on the radar now. You may have heard of the RIFAN system or other things. Legislators, people, anybody in state government who go to look at expenditures will see these populating in the PO column now to let everybody know, hey, this money is actually moving. So it's a bit of a geeky issue for the budget people here and the fiscal warriors on the call. But it's interesting to know because this states our case throughout the year that this money is in fact moving. Now, for you to get your reimbursement, again, ask anybody who's done it so far. We made a super streamlined process, totally easy to do. Once we get that PO, you have made your payment to the vendor. Please provide a copy of the invoice, the check you used to pay it, certified payroll if you're using any municipal staff. And that is essentially what we're looking for. You take that package together. We have a template that we use that we give to you when your PO is cut. And we say, hey, fill out what you're asking for back. It's an Excel sheet with maybe 5 or 6 points of entry. And that is really it. We're able to turn these around, on the outside, maybe 3 weeks, but seen some go in a week, some in 2 weeks, and basically just want to get that money back to you as soon as possible. Essentially, if you gave us $100,000 canceled check, an invoice for $100,000, we turn that around and give you $33,000 back. And that's been so far so good. We haven't had any hiccups. So again, any additional information you need on that, do not hesitate to reach out. We're learning as we go here too. So happy to report though, we already did this with 8 separate municipalities. We're testing the system pretty good. We're already over $1 million in reimbursements cut. One of the next things we really wanted to get into, monthly reporting. We need to do a little bit more detailed job for our friends in both Pandemic Recovery Office, Governor's Office, to be able to tell this story. The way we tell the story is with metrics and KPIs. KPIs, you'll hear me throw that out. Key performance indicator. Basically, it's a metric. It's what we're using to track impact of the money. Right now, we're basically asking you for the very high level detail. One of our metrics is how much money is getting out in the world, how much is being spent, how many projects are we doing. That's relatively easy to get from everyone here. You've all seen us contact you every month and give you a template. Where we want to go is to actually get a little bit more detailed so we can relate to some of the other more specific indicators. For instance, those lane miles. If we, and it was easy enough for us to kind of work with the groups to come up with the answers now on a smaller scale. Like as you saw, we're in this very first step, but we're about to be at a place where we've got dozens of municipalities doing dozens of projects. And there's just going to be no good way for us to track that on a project basis on our level. So we want you to be able to do that in a very simple Excel sheet. So this is going to replace the current monthly reporting request. I got a sample of it here. We've worked with a couple of the municipalities, again, before we roll this out to the bigger group, just to make sure that what we were asking for was something that, could be provided. It made sense. But again, this is something we're still developing with our GIS team. So again, like I say, for everything, we are not married to this stuff. If something's wrong, we got to fix it now. Now's the time. No stupid questions or comments. Get them in, let us know. You are all the ones doing the work. And, there's a classic mistake in government where we have people who aren't doing the work, setting out the parameters, and that just never goes well. So really relying on you here for that. And I'll show you what this looks like. But basically, the reason we need this is to capture the update on the project basis. more specifically, so we know exactly or approximately exactly how much work you've done. So what we did here was a quick example. We use West Warwick. They are a good example. They're kind of mid-sized in both projects. They've got a lot of funding, and they have a lot of different kind of projects, but pretty straightforward. It tells the story well. So this isn't anything real. This is just something I put in here for a sample. So this is what it would look like. This is what would come to you each month. This would be its own Excel file, and this would be the one thing you're responsible for doing on a monthly basis, besides any reimbursements or anything else. We're going to keep it as simple as possible, stick to the highlighted areas. And you're going to start to see that the IDs in the left-hand column, the projects, that's going to be coming right from our portal. So what's going to happen is we got to keep one continuous chain of reporting on here. So as some of you have mentioned, you may need to make changes in the portal to update new estimates. We make those changes. We will actually continuously pull from that one source of kind of truth in the GIS portal. So that way, every time, if you take, for instance, those first two projects, if Carlson Circle and Chamber Road were eliminated, those would not be on your sheet. We wouldn't ask you to report. We would update that as often as you update the portal, which we don't want to do a lot, but obviously we can't just fudge all this stuff. So that's kind of the main reason. You're going to see this pull right from there. Those codes, the ID.
1 second, JP. So, we're going to use the projects will be the project name you put into the portal for when you did your application, for the project. And then somebody like Carlson Circle may have 4 roads in it. So 2 roads may have been completed. That's where the 50% is. We don't care about, well, 2 of those roads are actually longer, so it's not exactly 50%. If you've done 2 of the 4 roads in that project, you can put in 50%. We're fine with that.
Yeah, it's a good point, Dave. That's, speaks to the overall what we're looking for here too. This is in no way intended to be anything more than a nice rounded number percentage-wise, again. But what it'll gain from it is actually give us the road level detail. That way we can get as specific as we need to in the GIS portal to literally, if you wanted to picture it in a nice colorful way, maybe that road was red. And then after 1 month, half of it's green, and the next month it's all green. That's the kind of progress we're looking to show. So, nice round numbers, 50, 25, 75, 100%. In this scenario we were just looking at here, you could assume that this month they did, $100,000 worth of work. They only invoiced half of it, but we had a little bit done the month before. That's kind of the story we're telling. This one here, Rotary Drive, is like, hey, we got all that done within the month, 100% complete. Young's Avenue, a little bit different. We didn't have anything else done. We did 100 grand this month and we got a quarter of it done. Now, I tried to make it a little extra, not, purposely complicated, but I wanted a little bit more detail. What we're hoping to realize is that obviously, if you get the work done and the expenditure in a month, we know these things have somewhat short windows. So, this shouldn't be even this complicated. I'm trying to say it should be, even easier. They're going to invoice you most likely at 100%, let's say, on some of these projects. So shouldn't be a lot of intricacies to this, but we wanted to give you the opportunity to provide the most information in one shot. So as far as what we wanted to do today, this was kind of one of the biggest, things. It's a new concept. It's going to ask you all to do something a little bit different. We're still working out the final procedures, but essentially what it would look like is, call it the 25th of the month. We generate an email to you with this Excel sheet for your particular municipality. You take your time. We'll give you, just a, here, let's say similar schedule. We'll say, all right, get it to us by the 5th of the next month. And then over that course of time, you can fill this out. Give us some completion percentages. We'll also have a notes column here. We always love that. There's always something, a little intricacy, or if you want to say includes everything but striping, or, any kind of thing like that, just for the added context. We'll always take them more information.
And these numbers, why these dates are important. we're giving you approximately 10 days to fill in this information. We compile this, and then as JP mentioned, Kate Randall and Pandemic Relief Office, we review the total of all municipalities with them every month.
Right. And you do not want to mess with her. So, that's something we try to take those 2 or 3 days in between and make sure everything's cleaned up and makes sense. On our side of things, after you turn in this sheet, we're actually trying to make this nice and automated. Our GIS team is working with us to basically have this upload right back into that portal. So now you can start to see our thinking here is, one continuous loop in and out of that portal. The more we put in and out of that portal, the more automated everything is. And believe it or not, the less work this will be as the program continues, especially knowing now we have a shot at another funding round. Let's say people out there put in another 10 projects in West Warwick, let's say. Now you've got a sheet with even more of these. And then you're asking yourself, is it 24? Is it 25? When did we put that in? Yada, yada. So we're going to want to do all that work for you, set it up, and let you just plug and play and be done with it, hopefully in, minutes, not hours. So this was the meat and potatoes of why we wanted to get together today, along with the reimbursement process, making sure people are getting their money back. And then, of course, to make some points of emphasis here. So just to finish along with the 24 program kind of wrap up, we have heard from enough of you. We are definitely going to reopen our portal soon to make edits to the 2024 program. That schedule is going to be different for everybody just based on when their bids are coming back and, how they're fine tuning their numbers. Again, we are looking at order of magnitude type changes that are necessary. So, if you end up going 10 feet over on what you put in, forget it. Not big deal. We'll catch that when the project's done. Here, we're talking, significant changes, additional linear feet, lane miles, major swings in pricing. That'll be important to us. But we're going to take that, as it happens, because there's a lot of us out here. And we've got to kind of make sure everybody's got a chance to work with us and get it right. So we don't want to make it a too stressful thing. We'll kind of do it as we have the opportunity. I don't want to just open up the gates and say I need all changes done by the end of the week. I don't think that's fair. The second thing I wanted to tag here.
One second, JP, before we get to
Yep.
RIB is the on that with the portal reopening. I think the feedback we got from the municipalities last year was the tutorials we had with each municipality was extremely helpful. I know it was helpful for us and our GIS team also. Anyone that wants to look at either should they go in and tweak something or they need to tweak something and they want to make sure it's done right, we will have those tutorials. Anyone can reach out to us. You have, myself and JP and Kara and Jim Pratt's emails. You can email any of us and say, hey, I'd like to schedule a 15-minute or a 30-minute tutorial just to get back into the portal. We'll gladly spend that time helping you out.
Yeah, great point, Dave. Now that you say it, I'll make sure we probably send another mass email to everybody once we have the date and the exact procedures, but that's true. The best way to do that is just to get with us. Anybody who's worked with us knows we're pretty flexible with that. We love jumping on a call. So it's a good point, Dave. Thanks. And then I just wanted to hit on the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. Some of you have been using it, some have not. Just, you just never know what people are aware of. So I just wanted to throw this out there. Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank is able to obviously lend money. They've got a couple of different programs that may fit your needs for the match on our program. So I just wanted to tag that and let them know there is a process we have to follow where projects that we're going to use their funding for one of our projects has to be on what they call the project priority list. This is not a heavy lift or a big deal. It's kind of just performative, but we do need to know it's coming, and it helps you get in touch with them. We can work on that for you. But this is
Pam, do you guys know how many towns you worked with the infrastructure bank so far on the project?
So far, just the two that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and there's two in this program, but we just got a list of ones that applied for the municipal infrastructure grant program in general, which can be any project, doesn't have to be the municipal road project. And there's probably about a dozen on that. So if that's the same process, if any of you have used that, and that's how you get on the project priority list. So we're happy to work with you on that.
Thank you very much. Yep, we got some great contacts here. So obviously, we've got some people who've done this a long time and understand the ins and outs. So don't hesitate to reach out. And then once again, just for emphasis, obligation deadline is looming, and I just wanted to throw that out there to make sure everybody's on the same page with that.
And if anyone does have questions on the obligating and either things you have concerns about from last year or new questions, I think setting up a call with JP and I regarding the obligations, we gladly will again have a tutorial with you to answer any questions on that. We've already had a couple, and we'll make the time to answer your questions about that.
Yes, it does sound like we're desperate for friends, because we are. And here's another way we're going to try to make more friends. As you may have noticed, Governor has put in $5 million. Important to note, as much as we'd love to hope this sails right through, it is just in the recommended budget as of this time. Next step is for the House and Senate to act on that. So more to come. It's possible they could change it, change the funding, the distribution, or any kind of portion of it. So given that, we're kind of in an awkward position where we can't do a whole lot without the money. And I know that trickles down to municipalities as well. But we're at the same point where if we don't act now, if we get the money, we won't be able to execute. So here's a couple of just kind of what we know so far about it. It's going to be an additional 5 million. That is all going to sync up with the dates I had on that other slide. So there's no time extension on this. It's literally just more money in the same amount of time to get it done. Just being abundantly clear and obvious about it. I don't want anybody to be under any false pretenses. This is not going to be super easy, and there's going to be a lot of questions, which is probably the second big reason I wanted to have this chat today. As it stands right now, the way the funding would work out is taking that 5 million, just divvying it up equally. And you can see the calculation there. You're looking at almost another 400,000 in program expenditures. That is, of course, based on equal distribution, 5 million divided by 39, and then 39 remaining the denominator there. So for a lot of different reasons, it may be that we don't get 100% participation this time. Some of these reasons have already been alluded to. We don't have the final amount. You may not have the local match. You may not have the time to budget the local match. You may not be able to sign off and say you'll get it all spent or obligated by the timeline. So because of all those, we want to be cognizant of that fact. We're definitely working on ways to ensure that there's as much success for as many municipalities as possible. I'm in, even just today alone, I've got more discussions kind of with our OMB team to see if there are pieces of this we can make different or easier, or, so we are still working on that, but I just wanted to be 100% upfront. It won't be easy. Some folks in some municipalities will be way better positioned to do this. If you have a 10-year plan, if you're able to do multi-year POs, if your councils are able to certify the matches available quickly, you'd be in better position. So we're trying to figure out is the more we know upfront, the better. Thinking of even the logistics alone of getting your final appropriation amount. Every time someone drops out, that's another 128,000 that goes into the pool of funds again. So I can't tell you necessarily what you even need to ask your council for match, because I haven't told you what your final is. So long story, not short, what we started doing was surveying everyone. You should have gotten that already by now. We'll be following up with that. But basically we're trying to say, hey, look, if there's anybody here right now who says, I absolutely just don't have the bandwidth to do any more funding, let us know. If there is an amount that you could do and that's it. If you said, look, I could possibly stand to do another 200,000, even if $1 million was available, that's my cap, let us know. So that's what we're in the process of doing now. Any information we can get now really helps us determine the next few steps of the program, so we ensure excuse me, everybody participating makes that deadline. So this is another point where we want to know what you're going to see from this. You know, laying this out here for you like this, hit us back. How bad is this going to be? Is this impossible? Is it doable? What would help it be a little bit easier? That's what we're looking for today, and obviously any other chance you get. So, you know, comment, question, call, you know, send something into the chat today, whatever you want. When you see, please let us know. Anybody who worked with us last year knows we take that stuff seriously. We get it right up the chain and see if it's something that we can do to help this. As Shay and some of the others said at the beginning of this is a great program. Everybody wants it to continue. It's, you know, we'll keep the positivity going, but if there's something that's just so impractical that cannot be done, please let us know. So, and of course, keep in touch with the local officials, you know, even your local councils. If you're at a meeting or you're getting together, it may be worth noting for them. You know, that's why I wanted to put the little breakout on here, just to give you an idea, like, hey, look, you know, it's a 33% coupon if we're going to do some more road work. But we got to do it quick, you know, start thinking about it. So that is about it for the kind of formal presentation. We've got plenty of time left. If anybody wants to talk, discuss, make jokes, we're here. So at that point in time, Kathleen, anything in the chat or anything else coming through?
Have there been any questions put in from people who had to leave, but put in a question in the chat?
And if anyone would like to unmute, you're welcome to do so as well. So the only thing in the chat was that Allie Sparks had to leave and said she apologizes and had to log off a little early.
I had a feeling Spark was gone.
So again, this is open now to questions from any municipality.
Questions, comments, jokes, all welcome. All right, if there's nothing, doesn't look like there's anything, but anything comes up, you know how to get a hold of us. I encourage you to reach out. We do actually quite enjoy doing the tutorials. It helps everybody in the end. So we are sincere with that. So please take us up if you'd like. Any other questions, comments?
And also with the new reporting, please, you know, this is recorded, it'll be on our site, so you can look at this new reporting sheet, and Kara's been sending it out to people. So if you have any questions on the new reporting, please reach back out to Kara directly or any of us.
And I'll be sending the recording out to folks and the presentation as well.
Great.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will sign off. Thank you all. We really appreciate your attendance, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.